liked very much Douglas Sirk at that time, making his melodramas. And I also liked pictures with Vera Rubin-Ralston. Anybody her fan? I mean, she couldn't act, but I guess she was a concubine of the producer. And he would put her in a bunch of movies. And I got fascinated with people becoming stars just because they were hooked up with somebody. And then the influence was I would look at these movies and see how they're made, and I love going to Hitchcock movies. You learn so much with the editing, like when you should cut to a person for a reaction. Because that was a wonderful schooling experience, just seeing a Hitchcock movie. And then eventually you find out that other people have been seeing your movies over the years, and it's shocking sometimes. Like you get a call that some filmmaker seeing these pictures. He had no idea. It's one of the happy moments when you find out. It also continues. People that see your movies use it as a jumping off point. So it's just something that happens.
The other question is, obviously you don't spend a lot of money on your movies. What would you do if somebody gave you some extreme amount of money?
I always said I'd quit. But actually I didn't. Because you know, there's an organization out there, the United States Artists, and they get $50,000 for 50 artists every year. Target stores is part of it. Also, Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy, has a thing. Danny Glover, and they get $50,000. So my brother and I were part of the batch, the first batch. So we split 50,000. I got 25. He spent the money all on equipment. I spent on equipment too, but I also put some in the bank because I needed, you know, a little backup. So. But you know, I feel that the big movies, they're already handled with some very good people making big movies. So I really don't have too much interest going into it. I feel it's already, but I would rather make my own studio, invent my own stars, and scale down the big productions to what I can afford, but still try and make them look big. I didn't show any of the class movies, but we got special effects. So people go to Atlantis, there's volcanoes blowing up, earthquakes and stuff like that. So if you can buy the equipment, you can make your version. And I always enjoyed going to see Godzilla movies because it was a guy in a rubber suit and stuff, and I was raised on those type of movies. So, and then you find out that people enjoy it. Because I once went to see a James Bond picture a long time ago, and everything was happening there. The helicopters going into a crater, a giant explosion, and the audience was like going to sleep. And I said, well, why the hell bother? You know what I mean? All this money spent on it, and you have little toys. Maybe they'll stay awake. So, yeah, I was doing that, my version. Yeah.
You have, like, many ones that have become big that people like to watch, but what's the one that you like the most and why?
Well, you know, I make a picture, they're like my kids. And I like the last one I finished. Then sometimes you play it, and it's like, oh, God, did I create a monstrosity? Because, you know, it's like suddenly people watching it, it's like they just went through a headache. And then you're shocked and horrified. And this thing is on the loose, you know. But then you calm down. You don't freak out. And sometimes a year later, or if you're lucky, a couple of months later, it clicks. Or you play to somebody and they like it, the audience likes it. So it varies over the years. I would look at a movie, something I hadn't made in a while, and say, hey, this is a good picture. How the hell do we ever get that off the ground? You know what I mean? And, but they're like your kids. And they never get put out unless you're totally happy with it. Like 100% happy with the picture. And then you're never sure how it will go. You don't worry about the audience. I mean, they're there. You know they're there. And you're playing the picture. And you always got to think, how am I going to end this picture? You know when it's time to end. And then you just try to make it so that it looks like an ending. You know, it looks like an ending anyway. You can't go on anymore. Light it up on and on.
Where are they available for purchase?
Well, you know, I work like underground. So, you know, like I come here and there's a venue. I play a video. But the video data bank, I give it to the video data bank, and they rent them to art places and stuff. And now they got a compilation. I think there's 5 discs. How many are there? 5 discs of a lot of the videos I made. Somebody curated and put the thing together. And they sold it to universities for a while for $1,000. sent this to universities and all. And now it's, the public can buy it for $100. So the video data bank is interested in it. There are places that distribute. The Canyon Cinema and the New York Filmmakers Co-op does the movies, the 16 millimeter movies. But you know, it's only like 1 or 2 prints of those things. And if the prints look good, it means nobody's renting the movies. No scratches on it, all you know, nobody's renting those pictures. But you always need a job. You can't live off the damn thing.
Well, I found out your DVD, one of your movies, so I wanted to know.
You know, the DVD, my brother met this guy, and he works for Other Cinema. And he wanted my brother's movie to send to the Pleasure Board. He put that on with a couple other pictures. So that's on DVD. There's also a compilation of pictures. The British Film Institute was interested in my movies. And they said, we'll pay for half the internet cost. And they took it, and they made a whole bunch, and they had it in England. They had shows in the theater. And then they called up and they said, we'd like to make a VHS tape. I said, all right, keep it in England. And so they made a VHS tape. And then one of those tapes got here in America. And so it's a bootleg out, which I'm flattered. You know, father to copy the damn thing. So it winds up, it's called Color Me Lurid. It's a compilation of all these 16, a bunch of these 16 millimeter movies. So there is one circulating.
Video Data Bank is truly an amazing distributor, but it's hysterical when you go to George's section, because whereas all of the other people maybe have like 3 or 4 things, you just keep on running down the list. There's like, it's the longest scroll I've ever seen, and each one of them too have tiny little scenes, little QuickTime videos, a lot of them, so you can see a little section, which helped me to say, oh, you know, now I know what his recent work is like. This was 5 years ago. He had a scene in one of the films. You know, there were trees blowing around, and it was, you know, it was music that you use, and I went, okay. That was the one with the dress that went down. I think that was Florina. And it was sort of a purple vinyl dress or orange flannel.
Yeah. You know, my other career is making these class movies, because I'm there, so we make 2 semesters, we make 2 pictures each semester. And generally, you know, I'm there on a Friday, 9 hours. They come late, usually, luckily. It's from 9 to 4. They tend to come in around 11:30. And then of course, it's noon, 12 to 1 to go to eat. Then they come back, and so it's working under pressure to try to make these big productions. I come up with the idea, I present them with the idea, and then they help me fill it out. And we find out who's coming and who's the star, and they alternate. You know, sometimes they do makeup, sometimes somebody else will do hair and set. And so I got this other thing going where we can have story pictures. And those are the class movies. And they're getting kind of big. We're using now Linda Martinez, who was in that documentary, as sort of our star, and we're making star vehicles for her, hoping that there's an audience in Europe that's demanding the next picture. And she comes and she acts with the young people.
Some of the students put their films, the films that you made for class, online on YouTube. I think there's 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, they do. I never put it on. I got a very slow computer, so I don't pay too much attention to the computer. Like I get emails and stuff, I send emails out. The computer don't give me signs, because I never updated it for 10 years. And give me a lot of trouble. So that whole world sort of scares me. But I use a computer for editing now. And each of the movies, they have different looks. Because in the early days, I used to edit completely in the camera. And the camera was such where you could stick scenes one on top of another. It was like making a collage. If you didn't like the scene you had shot, but the middle stunk, you could stick another image on just by recording over it, and it would automatically stop at the point you don't want to go on. So I made a whole series of that, and then the camera started breaking down. And they never put that in the new models, that thing where you can hear the sound while you're cutting in the camera. So I had to develop a whole other style, and I did Muzak videos where I would edit visually, then put the music in. And then the computer thing came in. And I bought a computer with like $2,500, something for the machine. And I thought the digital age was trying to end my career. Because I didn't realize all you had to do was hit a button and everything was okay. I was going to throw it out the window. And I reached a critical point, my brother stopped me and said, no, don't. And I went ahead with the picture. So there's a whole assortment of pictures, and they all have different things based on the equipment.